This is the story of John, not his real name, who is the assistant headmaster. Among the other things that John has to do, and you well know this from the way that your schools are structured, in his role as the chief disciplinarian around the place, one of the things that he has to do is to chaperone the prom every year. So he sets himself up to do that. And he was telling me about the most recent prom where he went and was chatting with some of the kids. And along comes a young man named Chase, a 14-year-old, really good kid. Not the top performer in the school, not the head of the football team or anything like that, but just a solid, good kid who's well respected. He's on the student council and all of that. He's the kind of kid that when the faculty gets together, they say, he'll go somewhere. He's that sort of kid. So he's chatting with Chase, whom he knows pretty well, and he thinks that he senses on Chase's breath a whiff of alcohol. Now, this school has a very strict 2 strikes and you're out policy. And part of that covers this whole question of using alcohol on campus. So he asked Chase about this. John, of course, by virtue of his position, knows, he's got it written down in the back of his mind, the clear list of all of those kids who already have 1 strike. And Chase is not on that list. So he gets into a conversation with Chase and says, what's going on? And Chase says, well, my girlfriend, who's not part of the school, comes from elsewhere. My girlfriend showed up with a flask of alcohol, and I took a drink. So John, without any particular hesitation, just says, well, pack up your stuff. You and your girlfriend are out of here. Just head on home, and we'll catch up with you on Monday. He's not too worried about it because, first of all, it's simply the first strike. He doesn't have to do anything until Monday. Monday comes around, and of course, his first call has got to be back to Chase's mom. And he's not looking forward to that call, obviously, but he picks up the phone and makes it and finds in the mother a wonderfully warm, very affectionate, very friendly, very appreciative mom who says, gosh, thank you for telling me. I do know about the policy and all of that. That's a dreadful thing that he did, et cetera. And John is just sort of, he explains the whole process of the 2-strike thing and what has to happen next and all of that. And just about to hang up the phone when the mom, who's gotten increasingly interested in this conversation, goes on and says, actually, I got to tell you something, because 2 months ago, Chase came to me and he told me about that the week before, a friend of his had brought a bottle of bourbon to school and stuck it in the locker, and Chase had a drink with his friend. And John is sitting there saying to himself, why is she telling me this? I don't want to hear this, because that's the other strike. Or is it? How are you going to sort that one out? When you've got that piece of information, as with most ethical dilemmas, it's coming at you so fast that you don't have a lot of time to think this through, and yet you've got to make a decision reasonably soon. I mean, he doesn't have to make a decision right there on the phone, but he's got to respond to this in some way that's serious and worthwhile. Think about what he's looking at. He is looking at an... Sorry about that. Yeah, what can I say? It's the media age, isn't it? Darn. He's looking at a situation where if you... by the way, turn off your cell phones, would you? Thank you. Steve, why didn't you announce that earlier? He's looking at a situation where if you think of this from a right versus wrong perspective, sure, wrong has been done. And you could say it's right not to drink, it's wrong to drink on the campus. But look at it from his perspective as the decision maker. He is not facing a right versus wrong decision. Wrong has been done, but he's trying to figure out how to respond to that wrong. And he's got 2 right choices facing him, doesn't he? In a sense, he can say, here's a really good kid who perhaps inadvertently, perhaps stupidly, whatever it is, got into this situation. On the other hand, he can say, here's what we've got to do. Here's what our particular regulations are saying. It is right to follow the regulations. It is right to keep a really good kid from having to go over the edge into expulsion and getting out of school and probably never coming back, given the history of what happens to other kids in that situation.